Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to 10 at a Time, the short long form show. I am your host, Whitlam Pierreville. No, I did not go to Howard University, but go Bisons anyway. Play the clip. Hey, what's up? You guys, did you miss me last week? Someone please say yes in the chat. If even one person says yes, you missed me in the chat, like I will feel so much better. It's just a lot of pressure. Yeah, sorry I was gone. You know, I never mean to leave you guys hanging high and dry, but it was just a really dense week last week. And I recorded something that I did not feel very good about whatsoever. And I in the infancy of this show, I want it to be something that I feel proud of. I want you guys to have a really solid idea of like who I am and what I'm doing here while we're growing this community together. So like, I don't want to put stuff out that I'm not super proud of, even though, you know, I feel safe here. I feel like I'm trusting my besties to like catch me and like, you know, fill in the gaps of what might not be communicated super well. But like, I just don't even feel like I was passionate about the stuff that I was talking about. But this week I am. I'm super passionate about this. The first thing that I want to talk about before we get into the show, I do want to say, you know, last week or a couple of weeks ago, you know, we talked about the government being shut down and me not being able to go see any of the Smithsonian museums that exist inside of Washington, D.C. And that is the second worst thing to happen from the government shutdown. The first worst thing is that people in this new month have not had access to their SNAP benefits. You know, there are millions of families across America, families that look like your family, unless you're a fucking millionaire or something. If you are a millionaire, my Cash App is in the bio. No, I'm playing. But, you know, millions of Americans, millions of families that look like your family, that are hardworking, you know what I mean, that come from the places you come from and like the things you like and eat the things you eat and enjoy the TV that you enjoy and watch this show also, are like struggling in a really difficult way, you know. Food insecurity is not something that I would wish on anyone. And so do what you can. And the thing that you can do is look up your local food pantry or your local food bank and make a cash donation or like a food donation. You can call whoever it is you'd like to donate to and ask them what they might be in need of most if they're not already like over capacity and overwhelmed with this huge influx in need. Or even volunteer your time. I'm sure volunteering your time is also a beautiful resource that you can offer them. I would say all the same things about the hurricane that just struck Jamaica, an unprecedented natural disaster in that country, and anything that you can donate, food, clothing, bedding, like material resources, money, time is all very helpful. We got to look out for each other, man. We only got each other. This week on the show, just so you guys get a sneak peek of what we're going to talk about this episode, we're going to talk about 1, Pokemon and the war against Greymon. 2, if you're friends with a cheater, does that make you a criminal? Do you deserve the death sentence? 3, the Louvre. The Louvre. The Louvre de France. The Louvre de France. Let's get into what we're not talking about this episode. What we're not talking about this episode is that in a couple of hours, they are going to crown ZOHRAN MAMDANI Jesus Christ. In a couple of hours, they are going to announce that ZOHRAN MAMDANI is the new mayor of New York City. I can feel it in my heart. I know what's going to happen because let me tell you something. The people need this badly. You know where we were this time last year. And let me tell you something. It might be true that niggas played a game last year. I do not think that they're willing to play a game this year because the shit is getting dire. If you didn't think it could get any worse, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. It's getting as worse as it could possibly get. I think that by the time you're watching this, they got ZOHRAN MAMDANI at City Hall right now, which is really exciting. I just found out that his campaign manager, his campaign strategist, Zara, I think her name is, follows me on TikTok. I just followed her back because her career is going to be crazy. Her career is going to be crazy because what you've done with this alone, what you've done with this, with the faith of a mustard seed, what you done flip this into against all the odds, this is Rocky Balboa at the top of the... Let me tell you, who's going to play ZOHRAN MAMDANI in the biopic? I think it's going to be Oscar Isaac. Who's going to play ZOHRAN MAMDANI in the biopic? Dev Patel. I don't know. Who's going to play? ZOHRAN MAMDANI, are you watching this video? Who do you want to play you in the biopic? This is generational. I mean, it just seems like such a no-brainer. You know what I mean? ZOHRAN MAMDANI is always talking about the issues. No matter what you ask him to try to derail the conversation into being about Israel or Palestine or, you know, being a socialist or him being a quote-unquote Nepo baby, even though he's not in the same industry as his mother or whatever the fuck. The dog whistles about him being an immigrant or him being Muslim, or not even the dog whistles, the explicit racism. He always circles it back to the issues. I like a nigga with focus. You understand? I respect that shit. And on top of that, it's a no-brainer because Andrew Cuomo is literally like an alleged abuser. You know what I mean? He's like a predator. Andrew Cuomo, we're not going to give you the keys to this car again. Andrew Cuomo keeps talking about ZOHRAN MAMDANI has no experience. That's not true. All he talks about is his experience. But would you rather get in the car with someone who has a relatively new license or someone with a history of DUIs and a recently unsuspended license? I've seen how you drive, dog. I'm not getting in the car with you. And that's the thing, Andrew Cuomo, all you talk about is ZOHRAN MAMDANI. Talk about the motherfucking issues. All you talk about is ZOHRAN. ZOHRAN MAMDANI is running a campaign for New York. Andrew Cuomo is running a campaign against ZOHRAN MAMDANI. ZOHRAN MAMDANI wants to make life better for people living in New York. Andrew Cuomo just wants to be mayor. He wants to wave his hand and wear the sash like a pageant girl. I don't give a fuck about that shit. You don't got a real plan. How the fuck you say you want to be mayor and the only thing you can offer is you want to hire 5,000 more police officers? How long does that take? Not the whole mayoral residency. That sounds like it'll take a couple fucking weeks. Do you have anything else in mind? Give me a real plan. Use your real imagination. I mean, the shit sounds like a no-brainer, but, you know, America has fumbled easier bags. So I don't know. Me in the future, if you're watching this and ZOHRAN MAMDANI is mayor, congratulations, buddy. I'm so happy for you. Last time we talked, I said that Rolling Stone released an article about the 250 greatest songs of the 21st century, every song from 2000 to now. And I said it was a pretty good list. I mean, it's not the list that I would have made, but I thought it was a pretty good list if we're considering that like there aren't a lot of repeats from artists. You know what I mean? I think that the 250 greatest songs of the 21st century are pretty well consolidated amongst like 15, 20, 30 different artists, you know what I mean, that would show up on that list repeatedly across the 21st century. But it seems like they spread the love pretty well, pretty evenly. I'm assuming that some artists bought spots on that list. Look, I'm not here to get into the politics, but the real thing about it is that why are there no musicals on the fucking list? No musical theater, no Hamilton, no Hairspray, no Great Comet of 1812. When I tell you no one else from the Great Comet of 1812, I think about that song at least like once a month. I don't even have to listen to it. I just stop and be like, oh my God, what a great song. Emotional and beautiful. I love a soprano. I don't want to take it there, but For Forever by Dear Evan Hansen, that's incredible songwriting. That's incredible musical storytelling. For Forever, when you talk about a song that paints a picture and takes you through a fucking narrative, that shit is cinematic. For Forever, Waitress, literally Sarah Bareilles, who is on the list of 21st greatest 250 greatest songs. Actually, I don't even know if Love Song should be on the list if it's not on the list, but Sarah Bareilles should absolutely be on the list for something. Hopefully it's not Brave. I just think Brave is overblown. I do like that song though. Say what you wanna say and let the words fall. Yeah. It's like, hey, I wanna see you be back. I'll take it back. Put it on the list. I'll take it back. Put it on the list. But anyway, Waitress, an entire musical written by Sarah Bareilles. Not one of those songs is on the list. She Used to Be Mine. When He Sees Me. When he sees me, I like him and he knows it. What if he opens up a door and I can't close it? What happens then? Come on, man. That's all. How could you not put it up there? You're telling me that we don't talk about Bruno? I watched videos of teachers who were talking about, I work with high needs, special needs, differently abled students. Some of them are nonverbal. I've never heard their voice before, but this week I heard a mute child sing, We Don't Talk About Bruno. These are videos that I really saw online. You know how powerful a piece of music has to be to make that a reality? You ain't put Satisfied up there. You ain't put Guns and Ship up there. You ain't put Nonstop up there. You didn't put motherfucking Wait For It up there. Death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep living anyway. Come on. This man wrote real gospel, and I hate to freak out about it right now because we're not talking about it. That's not what the show's about. What we're not talking about is Andy Richter not being eliminated from, and hopefully by the time this episode releases, he has been eliminated from Dancing with the Stars. Hopefully at some point, either America has stepped in, the producers have stepped in, or Andy Richter's doctor has stepped in for the longevity of his knees because he cannot get a double knee replacement at this age. He won't survive it. Andy Richter still being on Dancing with the Stars is blowing my mind. Everyone was like, he's 58. So is Elaine. You guys, I saw someone last week who after Elaine was in the hospital, they were like, oh, well, her rehearsal video wasn't that good, so I can't just give her an excuse because she has a sad story. The only reason Andy Richter is still here is because he has a sad story. It's because people feel bad for him, because he's old, because he can't dance, because he's inexperienced. His background is the entire reason why he's still here. So y'all being like, oh, I don't mind that Andy flooded the stage with smoke so that we couldn't see his feet during the Paso Doble. I liked his dance better than I liked Elaine's. You see how you're holding these people to a different standard, but you're complaining that, oh, I don't want to give Elaine grace just because she's in the hospital. But you give Andy all the grace in the world. That's white supremacy for you. That's white supremacy, patriarchy for you. It's because you believe the only people worthy of sympathy is a white man. Damn it. I didn't even want to take it there on this early in the podcast, guys. I didn't even want to fucking take it there this early in the podcast. But look what you've done. Now Jen is off the show. She's at home and she just had a baby. So maybe being at home is maybe good for her, because I think that that's a very stressful thing to go through. Maybe it's not the worst thing in the world that she's getting to rest and be at home. Putting that lady on the show 30 minutes after she got discharged from the hospital was kind of fucking crazy, but hey, to each their own. But that being said, y'all ain't got sympathy for anyone but Andy, Elaine with the fucking titanium foot, Jen, who is recently postpartum. You know what I mean? Everybody on here, but let's not even get into it. That's not what we're here to talk about. What I do want to say is y'all got to stop being weird about reality TV, because I keep seeing people talk about Whitney in crazy ways. Why does that woman activate you so much? I thought it was a little hee ha ha, like, oh yeah, Whitney's a little, whatever. But she can fucking dance, dude. She dances really well. You could never take that from her, and you cannot minimize it. She dances incredibly well. People like coming up with think pieces, reasons why they can invalidate Whitney's talent. Like, just say you don't like that girl. But all this other stuff, all this other hoorah, I'm here to talk about fucking dance. Are you or are you not? Seems like you're focused on all this other shit. What we're not going to talk about is Gen V. Gen V on Amazon Prime is fucking blowing me. I loved The Boys for a lot of seasons, and then I loved Gen V for season 1. And I think I still do love those shows, but I am experiencing a type of fatigue around them because they are an allegory for fascism. And it was more enjoyable when there was less real fascism. And now that there's real fascism, I don't like when the fascists win on TV. You understand? I'm watching Gen V and the fascists, keep winning. Can't tolerate that too much. I'm exhausted. And it's like Gen V, the characters on that show are like a bad decision factory. All they do is make stupid ass, dumb ass decisions. Last season, it was mostly Marie Moreau that was doing dumb shit every episode, trying to be virtuous and moral and upstanding in a world where fascists are trying to kill her. This season, Jordan Lee admits to committing like a high profile crime on national television for apparently no reason other than moral virtue. Like, what did you not fucking learn? They're gonna kill you, dude. These kids are moving around like they don't live in a surveillance state. They're breaking into facilities and shit like that as if they wouldn't be microchipped by the like government owning fascist company, or that people don't have camera phones or surveillance camera. Like, what's going on? Y'all are running around the country doing fucking espionage and breaking the rules and spying and shit. You guys are high profile enemies of the state. These kids are moving freely as if they're not high profile enemies of the state. Bad decision university. But Jordan Lee, I love you forever, Jordan Lee. I love you forever, Jordan Lee. Now that we've gotten the preamble out of the way, let's get into the actual show. Listen, Pokemon Legends ZA and the war against Greymon. I'm going to start the timer now. Can I talk about Pokemon Legends ZA? And I know that some of you do not give a fuck about Pokemon. You don't have to give a fuck about Pokemon. You've never played it. You've never watched it. It's not something, right? Maybe it sounds like a part of culture that you're not trying to invest in whatsoever. But can I invite you into this world for a second? Have you guys seen that video of the woman who like in real time is explaining to this man in a podcast or in an interview setting like what Dungeons and Dragons is? That's what I hope that this is for you right now. Okay. Imagine that you are out in the world. And you're in a room full of people. You're all by yourself. You came to this party alone. And it's a party of people from all different ages. There are 10-year-olds at the party. There are 20-year-olds at the party. There are 30 and 40-year-olds at the party. Okay? of all genders, from all backgrounds, rich people, poor people, people who speak English, people who speak Spanish, people who speak Japanese, people who speak Portuguese, right? There are people of different educational levels. I mean, imagine literally under the sun, any unique type of person, and you're at this party full of hundreds of people and you don't know what to say. And you look to your right and you see a motherfucker who's mad, mean as shit. He doesn't look like he wants to talk to anybody. You got to figure out how to break the ice. Do you know how magical it is that in this party full of people from all over the world, from all over the different parts of life, you can at any point turn to someone and say, what's your favorite Pokemon? Hey, what's your favorite Pokemon? And they might have an answer for you. They might say Float Cell. Even if you don't know what Float Cell is, you can ask about it, right? They might say something like Corsola, Float Cell, Wobbuffet. I don't know why I chose all water Pokemon. Anyway, do you get, no, Wobbuffet's a psychic type. Anyway, do you get what I'm saying though? Pokemon is a unifying force in a highly divided world, dog. That shit is fucking dope. Any person on the street, that the likelihood that I can ask them what their favorite Pokemon is and they have an answer for me is pretty fucking high. And as long as they say something other than Pikachu, they're valid. As long as they say something other than Pikachu or Charizard, they're valid. And my bad to the Charizard people, but you got to understand at this point, Charizard, it's too much Charizard. It's too much Charizard, bro. And also Charizard is a type of dog whistle. You know what I mean? Like saying your favorite Pokemon is a Charizard is like being in the Pokemon world and all you have is Zubats. I know something about you. Charizard is a dog whistle. Like either you're a Republican or you put ketchup on your spaghetti. Like I don't want to know anything about anybody whose favorite Pokemon is Charizard for real. Come on, like grow up. Saying your favorite Pokemon is Charizard is like saying my celebrity crush is Margot Robbie. Like yeah, I guess so. Like I guess so. But I also feel like you're trapped in a matrix right now that was prescribed to you, and I want you to have a real thought for yourself. I can't think of anything else that does that kind of thing for people. You know, like when Avatar: The Last Airbender got added to Netflix in like 2020 and it made the entire fandom resurge and like people found the series again. And now there's just this like beautiful world with a deep lore and awesome characters that people love. And like they were with you as children and now they're with you today. You know what it is? Imagine this, dude. I started playing Pokemon when I was a kid. My sister taught me to play the game, and you would never expect something like that from her, but she used to be a real big, deep down nerd. Like she put me onto Power Rangers. She put me onto Pokemon. When I got stuck in the game, she taught me how to get past the level because I couldn't read and she could. And to this day, there's an item in the game called a revive where like if your Pokemon faints, you can give it to your Pokemon and they'll come back to life. Partially, like so you can use them in battle. To this day, I read it as Revive in the game, only in the context of the game. If I read that name, Revive, in the context of a Pokemon game, I'm like, yeah, I need 4 Revives because 4 of my Pokemon are fainted. Revives. But to me, Revive is anyway. But I think some people just think like, oh, the animals fight, whatever. Pokemon is like chess, dude. It's like chess. I mean, you could make it as complex or as like bare bones as you'd like it to be. They're cute. They design Pokemon for people with all types of different tastes and interests. The lore around what Pokemon serve in the universe expands with every iteration, every season. It's like every time there's a new avatar, you got to learn about who's their team, who's on their team, what are their powers, what are their thing. Every time they drop a Pokemon region, it's kind of like we went from Avatar Aang to Avatar Korra, and now there's going to be another Avatar. You know what I mean? And you got to learn what's good with this world. What do they do here? What is the technology? How does it incorporate? And it's also like an ecologically, like the ecology of the Pokemon world inside the universe is beautiful. It's so fun. The people who make it enjoy it, and you can tell that, man. It's awesome. I mean, these are companions that people have for life, like comfort characters that people have for life. There's this software called Pokemon Home where you can transfer Pokemon from different games into whatever the newest game is, right? So I took my starter Pokemon from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. I put it into Pokemon Home so I could take it into the next game and into the next game and into the next game. Some people have had these digital characters with them like a fucking Neopet for a goddamn 10 years, 15 years. And if you don't play video games at all, I don't know how to describe describe it to you. But like the plots of these games are kind of something like saving the world. So imagine you build a team of characters to like go on this digital adventure. An RPG, it's a role-playing game, you know, use your imagination. It's really fun. The highs you experience when you're just about to lose a battle and then you squeeze it out last minute. The highs that you experience when you are in a Pokemon battle and you got like this much life left and you think you're not going to make it, but then somehow, some way you choose the right attack and you get to go before your opponent and you get that last punch in to knock them out and you win the whole thing. Bro, you can't explain the high that you feel, the dopamine you get off that, the triumph that you feel. Now imagine having like those connections to these little, I mean, they're little PNGs, they're little digital things, but imagine being able to like hold on to that little character on your game and take it with you throughout all of your life or all of the 20 years that you play Pokemon. It's really powerful, dog. They just released this new game called Pokemon ZA and they totally changed the format. They changed the structure of how Pokemon is played, of how the battles are done. And I'm having a lot of fun. Here's the thing though. There was so much hateration on top of this game, bro. There was so much hateration happening to this game before it even dropped because one thing about Pokemon fans, some of them are fucking annoying and they want the game to be some gritty, nasty, hardcore thing that it's just not, because if you want the younger people to have access to the game the same way you did to fall in love with it as a child, it has to be a certain thing. And mind you, like, yes, the graphics could be better, the dialogue could be better, they could hire voice actors, but with all of its faults, it's still a fun game and it's still an experience that like invites people in. It's still incredibly thoughtful. Like the Easter eggs, the lore is all still there. You know what I mean? The story building, the world building is still there. There's still a level of care that went into this game. And I leading up to it, so many people preemptively were trying to write it off. And then the game dropped and everybody had a good fucking time, except for the Digimon people. So that's the other thing. This is what I really want to say. This is Pokemon and the War Against Greymon. Greymon is the name of a Digimon. If you don't know this shit, all of this means nothing to you, but just stay with me and then we'll get to the rest of the show. Greymon is the name of a Digimon. And the reason that Digimon is relevant is because now imagine that Pokemon is Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? Digimon would be something like, Digimon is like Danny Phantom. Y'all remember Danny Phantom? Gonna catch a he's a phantom. Danny Phantom. Yo, Danny Phantom, he was just 14 when his parents built a very strange machine. It was designed to view a world unseen. He's gonna catch them all because he's Danny. This is half a musical show, guys. I don't know why I keep fucking breaking out into song. Now imagine that the Danny Phantom fandom could never in their life have even one conversation about Danny Phantom without talking shit about Avatar. That's really what's going on. The Digimon people are so envious and nasty. They're so neglected by their own franchise and the lack of investment there that they look at Pokemon with envy. These hater ass niggas. All they do is talk shit about Pokemon. And here's the problem is that Digimon announced that they were releasing a new game at the same time as Pokemon. So these two games from these kind of rival franchises, that's not true. You can absolutely like both. I like both. I love Digimon. Tamers Forever. You could absolutely like both. But somehow these people have convinced themselves that they're in competition. But you can't compete where you can't compare, my love. Pokemon is global. The problem with Digimon is that they got too tied up into that freaky shit. They're like little animalistic, you know, maybe plant, biological something. They're like little monsters. They talk English though. They speak English. Pokemon don't speak English. Digimon do. They can speak to their partner, their human partners. But you got these little like, oh, it's a little flower Digimon. Oh, and then it evolves into like a tree Digimon. And then it evolves into a bipedal humanoid angel demon from hell with 2 guns and a whip, and she's wearing BDSM straps. Now, why the fuck did you do that and air it on children's networks? Why would you do that? Why, what the fuck? If you ask the Digimon people about this, why there's all this like weird armored like guns, hypersexual costuming and shit like that, they'll be like, oh, well, Digimon is based on the internet and the internet is a corrupt place. So that's why that female character had to be the only character that kind of had no clothes on. And it's like, no, you retroactively created that logic to justify why that character's design is freaky as shit. Y'all are freaked out. Digimon had some OG Gooner shit going on in there. No one ever fucking talked about it. But anyway, This Digimon game is coming out, baby. They immediately start talking about Pokemon. No one gives a fuck about the Digimon game. If you want to play that shit, go play it. If you want to play it so bad, stop talking about us. Stop talking about us over here. Go play the games. That's what you want to do. You can play both. It's not that big a deal. But Digimon people are just so insufferable. What I really, really love about the new Pokemon game is that the open world kind of like free roam battle style reminds me of a game I used to love as a kid called Zatch Bell Momoto Fury. Zatch Bell was an anime that was based on these little Momotos. They were like creatures from another dimension. And every 1,000 years, 100 of them would be magically transported to Earth with a book of spells that only one compatible human on the planet could read, someone that like matched their spiritual frequency. And when they found that human partner, they would enter battle with other Momoto until the last one was standing. And then that last one standing would return to the Momoto world and become king of the world. I realize that what I'm describing right now, this must sound like some demonic ass shit that I'm describing. I'm so sorry. I just heard myself speaking for a second and I realized that everything I'm describing sounds like an evangelical nightmare. Like, I just feel like if you love God really bad, you have to see the devil in what I'm describing. I'm talking about demons from another world coming to conjure spells. Holy shit. I'm so sorry. This must be so scary for you. I don't know why you're watching this show if you see the world that way, but I'm so sorry. Anyway, I love Zatch Bell. I love Zatch Bell Momoto Fury, which it was similar. You played as the human and you would roam around the battlefield activating spells, like conjuring spells against like the other characters in the game. It was so fun. I think that Pokemon could actually borrow more from that gameplay format, because in Zatch Bell Momoto Fury, you could like park the human character and play just as the Momoto and like roam and control them directly. And that would be really cool in Pokemon. And you also still had to protect the human character. Like if the human character took damage, that also counted towards your damage. So it was really cool. If you're liking Pokemon Legends ZA, then you should find a way to play Zatch Bell Momoto Fury. Here's the crux of the show here that we're about to get into. If your friend is a cheater, does that make you a criminal? I don't know how this got started. I don't know where it came from, but like earlier this week, everyone was having a conversation about cheating and about how they would immediately abandon, dump, like break off a friendship if they found out that their friend cheated on their partner, even if they were not friends with their friend's partner. Does that make sense? I don't know how this got started, but I just want to say, should you end a friendship with someone because you find out that they cheated on their partner? You guys aren't going to expect this, but I actually have been in this position before, and I did choose to end the friendship. This was one of my best friends in the entire world. It's someone that we grew up together. You know, we grew up in the same neighborhood. We went to the same school, all the way from elementary school to high school. We graduated high school together. We played music together. We played sports together. We did plays together. He was Latino. I was Haitian. Both our families were Caribbean immigrants. You know what I'm saying? I did everything with this guy. I knew everything about this guy. He told me about like growing up in his parents' household and them and their failing relationship and how angry he was about it and how angry he was at his own father. When my mom passed away, he was at her funeral. He drove in the car with me from our neighborhood to my mom's funeral, and he drove back with me. You know what I mean? He was really there for me throughout that entire process, and I confided in him all throughout it, even into our adulthood. Even if he wasn't like the kind of friend that I talked to every day, every week, whatever, we didn't have to be that kind of friend. I knew that this was someone that I could count on for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? This was one of my day ones. I trusted him almost more than anyone else in this world. So imagine this dude, we're hanging out, and then we decide like, hey, you know, I'm hungry, you're hungry, let's go grab something to eat. We go to dinner, and while we're at dinner, he tells me about this relationship. He's been dating this girl for a little over a year, like a year and a half. And he tells me, yeah, man, I really fucked up. I cheated on her. And I thought about this man in front of me and everything he told me about his family growing up, what I know about him and his history at home. I thought about him holding me in the deepest valley of my life. I thought about everything we've been through together, and I got up from the table and I left the entrees and I left the appetizers and I got in the car and I drove away. He tried to call me. I declined. He texted me. I declined. I blocked his number on everything. I have not talked to him. I still haven't spoken to him since that day. The last type of contact I ever tried to make was when I DM'd his girl what he just told me. That's it. Do I sound like the hero when I tell that story? I hope I don't to you. I have many friends in my life that I've had since I was a small child, since I was like elementary school, middle school, you know what I mean? People who have seen me in almost every stage of my life and been there with me and watched me grow. And I've done the same for them. People who have watched me like be an asshole because I'm grieving my mother being dead in high school and still chose to make space for me and like forgive my transgressions and all of that stuff. I don't know if that, like, when people are talking about the hypothetical situations in which they would break up with their hypothetical friends, are people talking about friends in like the I've chosen to walk through life with you kind of way? Or do you mean friends in like a Facebook way? Do you mean friends in like a happy birthday on Instagram stories kind of way? Do people's friends not mean shit to them? I'm really trying to understand, because cheating is bad. Yeah, obviously cheating is bad. Cheating is bad. It is bad. I don't know if that necessarily needs to be said. We all agree. Cheating is bad. But if you're friends with this person, are you friends with them in such a shallow way that you actually don't know anything else about their character? Like to the point where you can't question, like, damn, this is actually unlike you. What is going on? Or maybe like, I don't know. You have no other context, no other tools, no other metric, no other anything to understand whether this person is like truly a bad, malicious person who deserves to be disappeared, or if they made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you believe that people who have ever cheated on someone deserves not to have friends anymore, then you're actually saying that cheating is an offense that's punishable by a type of solitary confinement, like an open air solitary confinement. And I'm not going to lie to you. Look, man, this is some anxiously attached ass bullshit, like moral purity bullshit. The anxiously attached people, I fucking hate anxiously attached people, guys. And I'm saying this as a hopefully recovered avoidant person. And I know that there's a bias in that. I feel pretty secure at this big age. I feel like a securely attached, like I'm not too insecure about shit, and I'm not like running away from connections. But anxiously attached people and the way they talk and the way they act, like they go out of their ways to like be the most tragic victims in the world. They have a monopoly on heartbreak. Shut up. Unless you like, I mean, like, oh, I'm 10 years in, we're married with kids, whatever. I mean, like, somebody, your boyfriend of 8 months cheated on you and you made it your personality for 3 years. Enough, guys. I hate to sound fucking unempathetic or whatever, but I don't have a lot of empathy for it. It's just like I'm not going to send someone to the fucking electric chair because they cheated on their girlfriend who was at another college when they were 21. I don't fucking know, you know? And a lot of this too is that people are like, a man would never. And that's another silly response, because you shouldn't base your morality on others. You should base your morality on yourselves. Would you tell on your partner would you tell on your friend to their partner because you want to? Do you think it's the right thing? Ground your morality inside yourself. I just feel like everyone who's talking about this has some like weird base in it besides like that's your friend. How can you actually help them facilitate a resolution to this situation in a meaningful and reparative way? Do you think snitching on your friend is like the most productive thing you can do? Do you think isolating your friend is the most productive thing you can do? And this is actually about people's lack of fucking social skills. Sorry, I'm not going to lie to you. I want to see a Venn diagram. I know I'm going to lose some people on this one. Hopefully not, but it is what it is. You know, a couple of months ago, we were talking about, you know, cashiers saying hello at their cashier job is emotional labor. And there's a whole crowd of people who thought expecting a cashier to say hello to you or make basic small talk is a type of emotional labor that they're not compensated for at their customer service job. I don't know. But I want to see that group of people and the people who would dump their friends if their friends ever cheated on someone. I want to see the Venn diagram of that, because I actually feel like that Venn diagram has a lot of overlap. And the center line is people who actually lack the social skills to like function in a complex society of people. Actually, like people who have such rudimentary social skills, social aptitude, such a low tolerance for conflict and difficulty in terms of navigating these complex like interpersonal dynamics, that they actually swing into these morally puritanical binaries where everyone is evil or everyone is good. And there are the oppressed and there are the oppressors. And cashiers either say hello. These people, they activate it. I don't know what to call them. There needs to be like another word that isn't incel, even though I do think that this is a type of like, not incel in the sense that like they're violent, but incel in the sense that like you are suffering from a type of social isolation that is inhibiting you from being able to integrate meaningfully into society and have a fulfilling life that way. You know what I mean? Because what the fuck? What the fuck? I don't think all the people who have this take about cheating are those people, but I think the people who have both of these takes, you're suspect number one. Holy shit. Anxious people are they're just so, get to make all the bad decisions they want. They get to lean into all their desires, release all their inhibitions, do whatever they want, feel whatever they want, get whatever they want out of all these people, situations that like adults should know better than, you know what I mean? And as long as they can position themselves as the victim inside of those situations, they take no accountability and everyone else is the mastermind, a master manipulator. It's boring to be so tied to your own helplessness, to be like, the only way that I can have sex with someone who I do want to have sex with, who I know doesn't want to date me actually. Anxious people, like, they're just so exhausting. They're always baby. You always have to be mindful of anxious people. They're so heartbroken. They've got all this bad fucking history. Everyone has bad history, babe. Get in fucking line. Anxious people get to do whatever they want. They have access to the people that they want to have access to, and they can ignore every social cue, every sign, every whatever. You want to date this person. They clearly don't want to date you. So you'll settle. You choose to settle for whatever access you can have to them, right? You actively make a decision that is a self-betrayal, and then when that person does exactly as any literate adult would expect them to do, you're like, how could you? Get out of my face. Get out of my face. That's why we have to treat cheating like fucking murder. We all agree cheating is bad. I'm thinking about that like West Elm Caleb guy. You know what I mean? West Elm Caleb, this dude in New York who like got caught on TikTok dating like 10 girls at once. None of them were in an exclusive relationship with him. They just didn't know about each other. Is that great? No. They doxed this nigga. He lost his job and everything. They plastered his face all over social media. Like he is a public figure now, and the most like, it's crazy. And I'm like, okay, was it really that deep, dude? You doxed a nigga because you found out that he was talking to 2 girls at once? You're sad. I really hate that shit. Y'all got to understand that that's actually a part of me that I don't like, that hyper surveillance, moral testing, purity culture shit. I don't like that. I think that it's actually part of, it's like a softer, more liberal side of the fascism shit. Like, I don't like it at all. I think that people are humans. People make mistakes. Like, when they do make mistakes, they do not deserve to be like disappeared and ignored and ostracized and isolated and shunned and exiled. Like, okay, you did something. I mean, all of this inside the context, take that with a grain of salt, because context is everything. But for the most part, these like people making hypothetical scenarios about hypothetical friendships. And I'm like, this is hypothetical to you because I don't think that you have very many friends. I think it's hard for the people who believe these things to have friends like that. I think that a lot of the people participating in this conversation, as is true in a lot of discourse online, is a lot of women who are like, no, your friends are a representation of you. Your friends are an extension of you. You are the company you keep. So if your friend is willing to cheat on their partner, you know, if their partner can't trust them, you can't trust them. And also they're a representative of you. It actually makes me think of Simone de Beauvoir. There's this book called The Second Sex, and in it they talk about women as symbols. You know what I mean? And it's like the ways that women in patriarchal society are meant to like represent or be a shorthand for their male counterparts, right? Men collect women, use women, like extract resources from women as a symbol of their own status and whatever. And I actually think that women, like, going so far as to be like, all of my friends are an extension of my own identity, is a similar type of thing. Like, the female friendships that you have in your life have to be dictated in a specific way with such purity, because even to women, the women in your life are a trophy. And that's not true. I mean, shit, I got homegirls in my life that have done niggas dirt and have done women dirt. I got a lot of queer people in my circle. Lesbians drag each other every motherfucking day. You would not believe what the lesbians put each other through. Holy shit. And I love them. I love them. Can you imagine if my homegirl Laura, and Laura's going to think this is funny because every time I talk to Laura, she's like, I like that you mentioned me on the podcast, girl. Hey, Laura, you're going to be in the guest chair someday. All right. So get your points ready. Yeah. Imagine if my homegirl Laura came to me and was like, I cheated on a man whose middle name you don't know. And I ran to that nigga and told on her. after goddamn 20 years of friendship. Can you imagine some shit like that? What the fuck? I'd be like, damn, Laura, that's really unlike you. Are you okay? Are you going through a fucking crisis? Do you need to talk? Like, well, shit, like, help me help you. I mean, whatever you work out with that man, that's what you work out with that man. I don't know. But you are my friend, and this isn't a decision that I can like stand by with you. I don't support this, obviously. Again, niggas taking it too far. Some people in the comment section is like, in fact, I condone cheating. I encourage it. I'm like, y'all go too far. Y'all go too far. But I'm like, damn, I don't like condone this, Laura, but you are a complex human being to me. And I love you. And so like, let's work this out. Like, I want to support you to be a better version of yourself. If she was that kind of person, she's not that kind of person. She's an angel. I love you, Laura. So many bombastic extremes in this conversation. Sorry, I'm going to smash that daily 20. This is today's 20. I'm going to smash that button. Today's 20. I'm going to extend this gender discourse conversation. And guys, I fucking hate to do the fucking discourse like this. I hate to do it. I hate to do it. But it's good for clickbait. No, I'm kidding. I hope that it's entertaining at least. Have y'all seen that Vogue article called... Well, actually, before we leave that. So it's also interesting to see women talking about their friendships disposably. I'm seeing so many women in this cheating conversation talk about their friendships as though they're hyper disposable and they're strict and anyone can get going at any time. But then also there's that video of that guy who's like asking all his friends what his ex-girlfriend's name was. If you haven't seen it, this guy is like, I'm gonna test my friends to see how close we are. And he's like they're at a game night or something like that. They're all around the couch. He asks his friends, he's like, hey, so you guys know that girl that I was in a relationship with for years and we just broke up and it was so bad that I had to move out of my apartment and go back to my hometown with my parents? They're like, yeah. He's like, what was her name? These niggas can't guess her name to save their like. Then when I tell you, boo, 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 they don't know shit about this. Nothing. They're like, Megan? It's not her name. But seeing that video and all the commentary that people were making outside of it, like, this is what we mean about men and their lack of intimacy and they don't know anything about their friend. And I'm like, I think it's just a cultural difference. There's parts of male culture that value different things than like the ways that women value their own relationships. Obviously, it's not super ideal. I'm not saying that those men don't need to know this like primary character in their friend's life. That's not what I'm saying. I think that that's a really egregious example of something that happens on a smaller scale in many male relationships, which is that like, yeah, there are biographical details about my homeboys that I'm not super duper interested in, or maybe I don't keep super tabs in. But generally speaking, I know a lot about my friends and what's going on in their lives. That's me though. All of this is also contained inside the fact that like y'all be talking about niggas and I can't relate to that shit a lot of the time. Because me and all the niggas I know from top to bottom, we have beautiful, emotionally intimate relationships. Like we confide things in each other in beautiful ways. We hold space for each other in beautiful ways. And I think that also inside of that, the ways that I make safe spaces for like my homeboys and the men in my life, the men that I'm friends with and shit like that, is that sometimes you give men a space where it's like, hey, leave your biography at the door and you can come into this place and be a neutral person and start over. Actually, I can choose to leave my biography at the door and not bring it into the space if I would like to. You know what I mean? That my friends will still make space for me even if something is bothering me and I choose not to talk about it. And that maybe I can say things that don't always have to be part of the cumulative image of what they believe about me or think about me or so on and so forth. I think there are a lot of really beautiful things about like the dynamics inside of male friendships that aren't worse or better than the dynamics inside of women's friendships. They're just different. I got to move on. But sorry, I'm going to smash that button. Just kidding. Y'all remember, I'm also thinking about the Vogue article. Is it embarrassing to have a boyfriend? This journalist, writer, Shantae Joseph, wrote an article for Vogue called "Is It Embarrassing to Have a Boyfriend?" and it ignited an entire conversation that honestly doesn't seem super warranted because the article isn't paywalled. And if you go read it, this shit's not even super long. It doesn't say anything bombastic or crazy. It's literally just the title is a little like clickbaity, but it was a fine article. I think, I don't agree with parts of it. And then there are parts of the conversation surrounding that article that I definitely do not agree with. Sorry. I just think that it's expanded to be a lot that isn't necessarily encompassed inside of the Vogue article. The Vogue article is talking about the ways that women as online entities are hesitant to publicly share their relationships with their boyfriends, like hard launching their boyfriends online. And in order to ground that conversation, she talks to content creators, not everyday average consumers and women who like have lives as civilians, but people who specifically convert their lives into monetized platforms on social media to thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers at once, if not millions. You know what I mean? So that in and of itself, I think, is like a real skew in the anecdotal data, right? That's one. But I don't think that what she's saying is grounded in nothing, right? She's saying that like there's kind of an ick factor to when women show up online with their boyfriends. She says whenever a woman starts a video and she goes, "So today my boyfriend," mute. You know what I mean? And, you know, there are quotes from the comment sections of videos where women are talking about how boyfriends are out of style, boyfriends are done. And, you know, there's a quote like, "Oh, women immediately lose aura points whenever they show up with a boyfriend or whenever they have a boyfriend." And here's the thing. I really wasn't going to talk about it. I was like fly on the wall to this entire conversation until I saw a video that Shantae made where she was like, "I've seen men take a back seat in this, believing that it has nothing to do with them, when in actuality it has everything to do with men." So I took that as a green light to jump into women's business. Yes, another day in women's business, the most lucrative business there is. Love it. Thank you so much. I'm like Remick in Sinners. I can't come in unless you invite me. Vampiric bloodsucker. You know, one thing about reading the article is that I found that like it wasn't even necessarily about having a boyfriend being embarrassing. In the end, like the kind of final thesis is more about like, hey, being single isn't fucking mortifying anymore. And my thing is that I never really thought being single was mortifying. Like I didn't know that people were carrying so much shame around being single. Obviously, that's something that like, you know, is a talking point. Women be having their experience, their existences validated by having male partners, sure. But the women in my life have never really been like that. And I didn't know there was such a large population of women who were holding their breath and seemingly needing the relief of like an article like this to come out and tell them that it's okay to not have or not want a boyfriend. That's interesting. And it's been interesting to see this kind of like collective sigh of relief there, or this exhilaration that people are experiencing. But I'm like, damn. Being single was like casual and lit. That's kind of the center of the thing that I'm saying when I'm reading this article, is that I'm like, I don't think having a boyfriend is embarrassing. And I'm saying this bias because I am a boyfriend. I'm not a boyfriend. I'm a husband going through a hard time. You understand? I don't know if having a boyfriend is embarrassing because I don't know if having a boyfriend is any different than being single in terms of like pride. In terms of identity, it doesn't really change that much. Towards the end of the article, she says something like, "Being partnered doesn't affirm your womanhood anymore." I'm like, oh, word? Did it? Did it ever? Not even did it ever really, but like, were a lot of people feeling like it did? Like, holy shit, dude, I'm so sorry. That sounds really hard. Oh my God. Oh my God. I had no idea you were struggling with that. Like, actually, maybe on paper, like in an essay, you know, I would have like theorized that might be something. But I'm like, the real women in my life, Laura, I know you're watching this. Laura, text me. Laura obviously, like the women in my life, they want relationships. They want partners. They want to feel desired and cherished. Like they want those things, but wanting those things and feeling devalued for not having them, I think are different. And I'm just like, I know that the women in our life want those things. I don't think that they like knock their own self-worth for not having them. But maybe that's true. I just think it's a more neutral thing. And either way, whether it's embarrassing or whether it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend or embarrassing to be single, like putting weight on it in general just doesn't seem like an effective way to break the matrix of that. It seems like this is something that should be more neutral about people. It just seems like this is something that people should be more neutral about. But in terms of the actual population that is being spoken about in the article, people who like are hesitant to share their relationships online, I think the online part of this is a huge caveat. That's a big asterisk. And when I think about it, I think about like if these women have made social media their job, how much do you want to incorporate liabilities into that job, into that career? And the reality is the second you step out with a relationship, that is a liability. And that can be completely untied to the actual quality of your relationship itself. That has a lot to do with the way people engage with relationships online, the baggages they bring to those conversations, the resentment, the jealousy, the isolation that they feel. I mean, clearly we just talked about a population of women who like had all of this really muddled, like really charged feelings about their own singleness or about their own relationship status, whatever. And as an influencer, I mean, there are people who are absolutely untouchable. There are women that are untouchable. You can't really speak ill of them, but you can always speak ill of that man. I think a perfect example of that is Monet McMichael and Jaylen Noble. I think Monet McMichael, I mean, the girl's top of her game. She's like killing it. She's so incredible, very talented, like has a huge career in front of her, so successful, captive audience. People adore her. She's untouchable. But because she lives in girl world, no man is untouchable. And then she connected herself to a man. And I think a lot of the criticism that they've received as a couple is irrelevant to the actual facts. It doesn't even have to be true half the time. For example, that whole thing earlier this year when they said Jaylen Noble bought a slave shack and he turned a slave shack into a gym. Monet McMichaels is working out in a slave shack. None of that was true. All of it was speculative. And then they came out later and they were like, I hired a fucking historical genealogist to look into the land. It's just a shack. It's a hunting shack from like the 1800s. There were never slaves here. But people ran with that narrative because ultimately I think they wanted to, you know, through their own misogyny, and their own misogynoir, drag that woman down a bit. And the most like visible vulnerability she had was her relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that is kind of like watching that cycle happen again and again and again and again, regardless of the quality of partner that you have, is enough incentive for any person who's been on the internet long enough and digitally literate to be like, I don't want to bring my partner online, or specifically, I don't want to bring my male partner online. You know what I'm saying? And also men will embarrass you. That's true. I think that part of this is actually totally separate from whether or not the man is doing something embarrassing to you or is going to embarrass you, because a lot of this criticism is more about like a sociological assessment of what's happening between men and women right now. Women are having like a beautiful, revolutionary experience in this generation for the first time ever. I mean, in the last like 30 years, women in this generation are having experiences that no woman in history has ever fucking had. Our experience, like, have access to power and resources and money and things that women have never fucking had. And it's doing, like, we talk about all the things that it's doing to men, the ways that men are experiencing a type of identity crisis and are kind of experiencing this aimlessness and whatever. And that's true. But I also think that this conversation about whether or not it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend is an example of how women might be also working through complex emotions about the ways that social order is transforming. And the transformation of that social order is beautiful, but there are still growing pains and complex feelings to work out. When I read that article and I see the discourse online and I see women talking about like patriarchy, the weight of living under patriarchy and misogyny and like the history of violence that they're grappling with and all of these things that are macro, institutional, structural, sociological, right? You know what I'm saying? And then I see someone say like, all right, fellas, this is how you're going to make sure you're not an embarrassing boyfriend. I get that it's fun and games, whatever, but I'm like, honestly, what we're actually talking about is so much bigger than the interpersonal details of my relationship with someone. That kind of has nothing to do with me. I mean, it has a lot to do with me because I am a man, but that is not something that I can like exercise or something that I can like battle out inside the context of my interpersonal relationships. I could work on myself, whatever. But if women think it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend because of what a boyfriend is instead of who their boyfriend is, then there's nothing their boyfriend can do, because at the end of the day, he is a boyfriend. The article didn't say it's embarrassing to have a bad boyfriend. The article said it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend. It's not who I am, it's what I am. I can work on myself, we can work on the culture, but as long as we live under patriarchy, it seems like the shame will exist. And that shame is kind of an internal processing that I think women who want to be in relationships with men have to do. It makes me think of, I don't think that race and gender are like a super parallel thing. Like, I don't think that you can always go one for one, and that I think they're actually kind of different, like super different actually to compare. But like, you guys might not expect this, but I have dated a white woman in the past. I know I don't seem like the type. But, you know, in those relationships, like me and the embarrassment that I did feel and the shame that I did feel and the complicated feelings that I did feel, not because of anything my partner did specifically, but because of my understanding of the racial history in America, my position inside of it compared to their position inside of it. And for me to go into like our bedroom and be like, this is what I need you to do to not make me be embarrassed that you're white. And honestly, this is something that I had to actually learn, that I'm like, oh, wait, this actually just is not for me. You know what I mean? I actually just can't do this, because there are more complicated feelings than I'm willing to grapple with right now. And I don't think that that's fair to me, for me to project onto a person that has never done harm to me. I think it's kind of like weird to kind of try to work that out with a person that's never done harm to you in the context of your interpersonal relationship, to be like, anyway, you get what I'm saying? Like, it kind of makes me think of that. So just as a direct response to Shantae being like, yes, it has everything to do with men. I agree with you. It has everything to do with men. But I don't know that outside of me working on myself, I don't know that it has anything to do with me as a man. The like cultural, social parts of the conversation have everything to do with men. But the emotional experience of shame that women are talking about together, that's an internal experience. So I'm like, I'm wishing you the best in that. There's an interesting quote towards the end of the article, and it says, we need to reevaluate our blind allegiance to heterosexuality. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this shit sounds gay as fuck. That's not derogatory. That's not derogatory at all. WLW, baby. I support you. But yeah, it sounds like there are just people who are really pessimistic about heterosexuality. You know what I'm saying? Like, people who are pessimistic about heterosexuality because of the culture that we live inside of, not because of the men that they're specifically partnering with. Some of those men represent that more than others. But I don't think it's about the individual. I think it's about the cultural. Does anything that I said make sense, dude? I really hope that it did, because like... And I think that a lot of the embarrassment that women are experiencing is actually shame that happens internally, yes, but also like shaming that women do to each other. Because like when I think about like the people who are attacking Monet McMichael because of something that Jalen Noble did, or the people who are attacking a girl because a boyfriend did something they don't like, that's most like it's women. It's women who are policing each other and invoking shame in each other most often, I think, from my position. Obviously, men harass women all the time. Like I'm not saying that men are super nice to women or leave them alone. That's not what I'm saying at all. But when I think about like the ways we talk about dating and police dating online, women police women's dating a lot. One of the hardest things to be in this fucking country is a black girl who is making a dating decision that the public does not agree with. And we can see that in Sky Jackson and Keke Palmer and Simone Biles. I mean, like the way I saw the girls talk about Simone Biles, the way I saw people talk about Keke Palmer, the way I saw women talk about Sky Jackson, oh my God. Shit make me take a step back. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy the way I see some of the girls talk to each other. Holy shit. Okay, that's time. That's time on the 20. Oh my God. All right. It's time to move on. Last but not least, what I wanted to have a serious... Last but not least, and let me get my clock going here. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys very seriously about is the Louvre heist. These niggas done robbed the Louvre. Oh my God. These niggas done robbed the motherfucking Louvre. And honestly, I wish it was me. Oh, I wish it was me, bro. I wish I did it. I was just in Paris. I was just in the Louvre, and I was looking at those crown jewels. I was looking at those crowns and the jewels, and I was looking through the glass, and I said, this glass looks soft as shit. It'd be a shame if somebody, and I just didn't do it because I'm a coward. But fuck, if I knew it was going to be that easy, I would have done it. My homeboy Johnny actually ended up getting arrested in Paris while we were there because of an ordeal with a moped. Y'all remember, if I told you the story, y'all remember if you were there. And if I knew, if I knew when we were at the Louvre that the French police were so motherfucking soft, I would have jacked that shit myself. Y'all gotta understand, I'm Haitian. I came all this way. I'm leaving with something. Half this shit don't even fucking belong to y'all in the first place. So, I mean, these people who want me to feel so bad for Paris and the Louvre getting robbed, I don't give a damn about that. These niggas are international heroes. And I hope that whoever paid them to steal that shit, I hope that the jewels turn up in their nations of origin, or even not even in their nations of origin. I hope that they end up in countries that have experienced French colonialism. Yeah. I hope that shit ends up in Sierra Leone. I hope that shit ends up in Congo. I hope that shit ends up in Benin, in Ivory Coast. I hope that shit ends up in goddamn Algeria. I hope it does, motherfucker. I hope all your shit ends up in the countries that you've stolen from. Pussies. The Louvre, which is, it's like the Met, it's like the Metropolitan Museum or the Smithsonian, but it's in Paris. It's one of the biggest museums in the world. They had a group of motherfuckers pull up in there with like an industrial ladder, like, you know, those, like a crane, you know what I mean? An industrial ladder. They pulled in with this, like, they were disguised as workers, you know what I mean? Hard hat type shit. They pulled this industrial ladder connected to this truck. They pulled it up to a window. These niggas climbed the window. They got in the window. They cracked the shit, grabbed the shit, got back out, climbed down, got onto motorcycles, drove away. They got away with the shit. No one stopped them. No nothing. No alarm. No police. No guns. No. They just got away with it. They ended up dropping one of the crown jewels. Can you believe that? They didn't even stop to pick it up. They didn't need it because they already made off with so much. I mean, it's just like something out of a movie. If there was ever a time where I wish that people were wearing meta glasses, it was then. This is my thing. People, like, the worst people have meta glasses. Y'all are using it to turn civilians on the street into content. You know what I mean? People wearing meta glasses to go into restaurants and go into public places and harass people and turn them into fucking prank video clickbait. I don't want that. I want people who are in these fucking extreme, unusual circumstances to have meta glasses. Go back in time and give these niggas meta glasses. Tell them to go live while they do it. Or at least drop the meta glasses with that jewel that you dropped, and somebody please upload the shit. Oh my gosh. That and like some like sound ASMR, like a Foley artist doing ASMR with the shit. Maybe the video's silent. I don't know. In my mind, it was silent. Maybe that's not true. I don't know. I heard that they just found two of the men that participated in the Louvre robbing. Who's the motherfucker that shot the CEO? This is Luigi Mangione all over again. Let me tell you what, the mugshots that I saw of these dudes who robbed the Louvre, batty shot o'clock. Get these niggas on Love Island. You know what I mean? And that's how you know their heart is really in it. Because when motherfuckers who look that good commit crime, you had options. You really had options, and this is the skill that you chose to hone. You lived in Paris too. You could have been a model, baby. You were in the middle of the world of design. Models, runways, cameras flashing, Western beauty. I mean, you really could have done it if you wanted to, but you love this life. You chose to be this guy. I respect that shit. As long as you keep doing it to motherfucking Paris. Keep doing it to the French. Don't do it to nobody else. The jewels. Oh, the French jewels. Those jewels are not French. Does French have mines? Does French have diamond mines? Does France have any natural resources? No. Return that shit to where you got it. Return that shit to India immediately. You guys don't understand it. Right now I'm reading this book called The Black Jacobins. It's kind of a historical survey of the Haitian Revolution, but also a biography of Toussaint Louverture and how Haiti, won its freedom against the French, and how the colony of Saint-Domingue kind of existed before that revolution began. I am in a position right now where on a biological basis, I cannot have sympathy for the French. I can't do it. Fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Because every time I see the French talking about the shit that they lost, you mean my shit that you lost because you owe me money. You owe me money. You owe me some shit and I want it. When you get those fucking jewels back, I want you to run me that fucking... They're never going to see it again. I hope they never see it again. Sorry to the people at the Louvre. Sorry to the people who wanted to go to the Louvre to see the crown jewels. I mean, it's the fucking Louvre. There's all types of shit to see. I don't know anyone who was going to Louvre to see the crown jewels. Also, the crown jewels, like the jewels on them, like it was almost like so gaudy and so whatever that it looked cheap. I remember that show about, it was like Crazy Rich Asians, but it was like a reality TV show instead, like Bling something. And I remember these like Asian people like being in these mansions and whatever. And I think this is true of everyone in these kinds of, you know, financial situations where like you like have a diamond chandelier and it's like that shit looks like it's from Party City. Like it's actually so tacky and gaudy and tasteless. It looks like it's from Party City. And I know that you're telling me it's worth a lot of money, but it's ugly. Apparently one of the guys got caught at the airport trying to leave France. And I'm like, why didn't you take the train into it? Because the trains don't check anybody. The Eurostar, why didn't you get on a Eurostar to go to another country and then catch a flight to? And also, they got caught so many days after. I'm like, why did you wait so long? Why did you stay for so long? Get on a Eurostar to fucking Amsterdam. Get on the plane at Amsterdam to go somewhere else. Get on another plane to go somewhere else. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But that's just what they chose to do. Me, I would have been in Costa Rica. Anyway, guys, that's it for today's show. That's it for 10 at a time, the short long form show. I am your host, Woodland Pierreville. Please look into the ways that you can support people in your local community. You know, I don't know where you are. I don't know if the elections in your hometown or in your neighborhood turned out the way that you wanted them to turn out, but there is absolutely a number of ways that you can show up and support the people who need support. And one of the ways that you can help right now is by supporting the food infrastructure in your community. Donate to a food bank. Check in on your neighbors. Like, we don't know how much longer we're going to have to do this. And the thing that I do want to say is that these people are going to try to spin it as though it is like the Democrats' fault that the government is shut down and that things can't move forward. These people want to take millions of people's health insurance away. That's what the government is shut down over. The hard line that the Democrats are drawing is that, you know, hey, if you want to get this budget passed, you need to promise that we are going to get an extension on the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare to make sure that millions of Americans retain their access to health care. That's what this is really about. This is a fight about health care, and the people who are holding this country hostage are the people who are eager to take healthcare away from millions of Americans without a plan to affordably, like, to give them another affordable option. Okay. So I don't want the narrative of this to be hijacked. And I hope that you had fun this episode. I hope that we had a great time together. I definitely had a lot of fun talking about this, I guess. I read this Vogue article and some Substack articles and some stuff about like heteropessimism and blah, blah. But I hope it was funny and it didn't feel like just another like shitty video about gender discourse. And so all of this with a grain of salt. Thank you so much for giving me that time last week. I will see you again.